with the rapist.
Amen. Yes.
You did not cause that. You did not make that happen to you. You did not, that's not your behavior. The behavior of the rapist belongs to the rapist.
Amen.
The only thing that lies within your responsibility is what you carry because of it. And there's no way to take that away from you, right? So that's how I know it's in your responsibility. So it's my responsibility to just love on myself, my 12-year-old self, and all the effect that has had on my sexuality, on my relationship to myself as a woman, on my relationship with men. I had to look at everything from that perspective. I will always be a rape victim. That's a fact. This is not like, I'm not a victim. Yes, I am. This happened to me. It's real. And it doesn't go away because I heal or I do work on it. It will continuously show up in my soma, in all the things that I do. And it's my job to hold it and go, I know, honey, this hurts. It's my job to unravel all the layers of pain and hurt that I wasn't ready to process or regulate. As I get older, as I get more mature in my being, I'm able to hold more of that pain and that grief, that fucking loss of my childhood. And not that my childhood was great, but this was such a loss of my childhood, such a loss of my sexuality. And I was a child, and so were you.
Yes.
And so I would take that session you had with the work and tell it to fuck right off. And
yes.
It's okay to be so angry that was even an option, and just a no. And what this really brings us back to is what I love to say is trust yourself. You knew that was wrong.
Amen.
You knew that was more damaging than it was helpful. Trust yourself. You know, because of what you've been through, you can trust yourself more, not less.
Exactly. Yeah, I love this. I love this. And this brings me to the following question. And by the way, the lady, I'm going to be talking to her in 2 days, and she's going to be here in this podcast when it publishes. I just thank her for her courage, because
Absolutely.
and I try to reduce her question. I know if I missed anything, because it's 2 pages, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm translating it from the Spanish to English. But if you have any other questions, send it to us for Shanti to respond in the next podcast that we'll do. But now this brings me to a question of a gentleman. His name is Jose. He's 34 years old, and he just wants to thank you, because he said he started this thing, and I'm translating. In Spanish sounds more, so in English is better. It's I effed up, right? I fucked up. I messed up in my marriage. I cheated. I lied. I tried to put all of my cheating and lying on my former wife. I caused her so much trouble. I lied about her. Whatever I did, I lied that she did it. I regret it so much. But after hearing your podcast, I received a call in my heart that to be a mature man, I had no idea that I was being teenager that was not seen, a child that was not living. I come from a very abusive family, lots of money, but lots of neglect. Mm-hmm. And in a way, I was doing that again to my former wife. My former wife is incredible. She has never separated me from my kids. She's so mature. I have been angry at her maturity, because I like maturity in me. Thank you, Shanti. And if you have any comments for me, I will gladly receive them. Jose.
Well, it's incredible, that awareness.
Yes.
That awareness, I'm jealous of her maturity. And it was hard. It's when you come, first, I want us to be really clear. I'm addressing Jose as a human being who matters. And your behavior was not okay, but you've already established that. You've established that your behavior towards your wife towards your ex-wife was not okay. So we're clear there. And those patterns will never be okay. That's part of the maturing process of going, oh, I did that thing and it was really shitty, but I am not a shitty person or irredeemable. Right? I can go forward with different choices and be mature. And so that's a really incredible place to be. And it's not easy. Whatever Jose went through to get to that understanding was not an easy road. And I deeply honor whatever work it took to get to that, to be able to be in that level of acknowledgement of himself and his ex-wife. And when we've been in an abusive, neglectful environment as children, when somebody shows up in our life later on who deeply cares, which is basically all we ever wanted in life, it can be so painful and such an affront to the family of origin dynamics or the abusive dynamics that our default behavior is to sabotage it. The behavior, it's not something, it's just, I can't handle being cared for at that level.
Right.
Being cared at that level hurts me. And my job is to allow that care. Love and care don't hurt us, but they can be painful, but they will never harm us. But when you have abuse in your past, it's difficult to know the difference. Somebody loving us can be painful because it's everything we ever wanted and never knew, but it will never harm us. So if somebody's in our life and saying, I care about you and I love you, and they're harming us, that's some bullshit. But if somebody's in our life caring about us, leaning in, loving us, and it just feels like, glass in our eyes, it's because we're being faced with that thing that we always wanted and never knew. And so we have to get to know it and get to trust it and understand that we are so worthy of it because everyone is. Not because anybody's special or more worthy of care or love. Everyone is. Everyone. And what I want to say about that as well is love is a skill set. It's not a given. It's not innate. It's not every human loves. Love is a skill set, an action, a set of behaviors. It's care, affection, open, honest communication. It's leaning in. It's a whole lot of skill sets, what we in the world we call soft skill sets. It's not just some willy-nilly thing that happens. It's a choice that you continue to practice and devote yourself to over a period of time. And those of us who didn't get that in childhood think there's something wrong with us.
Right.
There's not. We just don't have the skill set, and it's something we can learn.
Wow. I love this so much, the skill set of love. We're going to talk that about in the next podcast. Whoa. This is so rich. We have time for one more question, and I'm choosing because we have so many. And okay, I'll choose this one. So the next one, and thank you, Jose, for your question. The next one is, okay, this is a teenager, and I love this. His name is Patricio, and he says, my mom had me listen to your podcast. No, really cool. I loved the podcast with Miss Shanti. Also, my mom is telling me to say the word miss. I could relate to what Miss Shanti was saying a lot. I just want to have a question. I have a question for her. As a teenager, I feel so much pressure for not having made it in life. I am 17. Listen, I'm 17 years old. I see my friends calling themselves entrepreneurs. I see videos like of Gary Vee. I see so many people that are making their millions in TikTok. I will never be able to be on TikTok. I find it to be really fake. I cannot be a YouTuber. I find it to be really fake. I like sports. I like all style things. And sometimes I feel so lonely. Do you have any advice for me? I'm not fitting in the rhythm of my friends, what they are doing. I don't like to do the same. I don't play video games. Any advice for me? Because I still feel that I need to belong.
What a
17, yeah.
Incredible human being. Yeah. Again, I'm going to come back to trust yourself. You're making choices that are incredibly difficult at your age with the pressure from the internet, the pressure from friends, and to be like, well, I don't like those things. And I just want to tell you, there's nothing wrong with you. It's okay to not like those things. It's okay to not be interested in the flashy, superficial, get, go world. It's okay to feel like you don't belong to that world, right? To that place. I can tell you for sure, I don't want to belong to that genre of life. It's not interesting to me. I would rather be outside and go hiking and be with the people I care about and spend my time developing relationships that actually matter and relationships that aren't superficial. And those will be rare. You're not going to have 25, well, maybe you will, I don't put that, but 25 deep relationships. You're going to have one or two, and they're going to be nourishment and incredible. And I would invite you to create your own idea of what you think success is. My idea of success is not making millions of dollars. My idea of success is not traveling all over the world all the time. My idea of success is like, I got food in my fridge and we cook meals together and I get to do with my time what I want to do with it most of the time. So don't take this like social media, internet idea of what success is and place it on yourself. Decide for yourself what that means and do what you like doing. And as much as you can, you have to learn to turn the outside noise off and just be yourself. And it will be very different than what you see happening around you. And yes, it can be lonely. That is true. I'm not going to tell you that if you do X, Y, Z, you're not going to be lonely anymore, or you're not going to feel like you don't belong. But I have this clarity inside of me. I'm a coach. Sometimes I walk into rooms where there's, philosophies and things that aren't necessarily my jive or my way of living. But if I'm in that room because I put my foot in that room, I belong in that room. I belong because I say so, not because other people say so. And if I step into a group of people and they treat me like I don't belong, then I don't want anything to do with them.
Oh, I love this, and I love this for me and for everyone else, not only, teenagers, so I can so relate to you, Shanti. Our goals are not like to be the most millionaires in the world, but the experiences, building memories. And
I have 4 children, and none of my children are interested in being a TikTok star or being entrepreneurs or not in the sense that like you see online. Like my daughter wants to have a tattoo studio at some point. That's her level of entrepreneurship. We're not talking, like have her own business, but it's there's nothing wrong with living this ordinary life. So long as you find what you like in it, you find what fulfills you, you find relationships that nourish you. It doesn't have to be a lot of people. It doesn't take a lot. It takes a few who really care. And what I would suggest is looking for people who care.
Yes.
The same way you do.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. And and just to close the podcast, we have so many questions and there's so many of teenagers. I'm going to gather them and put them in categories for next time so we can just go in those, because they all relate and they all come to maturity, right? So if you could define, I know we cannot just put it in one statement, but just to close. So we invite people into their path of their own maturity. How would you tell them, why would they want to take the journey of becoming more mature? And just, I love how you started the podcast. You said that a mature humanity will never harm their children. For me, that's enough reason for me to really explore my maturity and grow more into it. But is there anything to close this chapter? We're going to call it chapter. This is not the end of the podcast. It's a chapter. We're opening the path of maturity conversation here. Is there anything you would like to leave to the listeners for them to start really treasuring what maturity is?
I'll leave it a little bit pragmatic or practical at this point. Is that maturity is deeply based on personal responsibility and agency. And it's what I said before. You don't want less responsibility. You want more. And if you head in the direction, and here's the thing, responsibility has been very glued to like burden. Responsibility has been very glued to obligation. I'm not talking about either of those things. I'm talking about being responsible for your words, your behavior, your language, and the choices that you make. Like, I don't know the outcomes of my choices. I only know the choices that I make. And I can navigate whatever that outcome is. And then I make a different choice. And then I navigate that and I make a different choice because I take responsibility